Hello, my name's Alistair and I'm lead educator on Understanding IELTS, and we're very happy to have you on our course. I'm speaking from my hometown in England, which is quite close to Oxford. It's summertime, but it's raining quite hard, which is something like a traditional English summer really. This is the end of week video, and at the end of every week one of the educators, or sometimes all of us, will record a video and just say hello, tell you some of the things we've noticed on the course, and maybe give you some new ideas as well. It is a great opportunity to share your ideas about IELTS and to ask questions as well. So if you've got a question about IELTS, put it on the forums and I'm sure someone will answer you. The educators are often on the forums and we try to answer as many questions, but we have over 65,000 people on our course registered at the moment, and it's difficult for us to answer all the questions. So if you've got something you really want someone to answer, why not find a comment that we've made already and put a question after that, and I'm sure we'll get back to you there. It's a really good idea to follow the educators as well on the site. So there's me, Alistair, there's Freddie, there's Neil, there's Tina and there's Simon. Why not follow us and find out what we're saying? The first week was a general introduction to IELTS, and we hope that now you have got a really good understanding of how long the exam is, how many papers there are, the kind of grades you can get and so on. In the next 5 weeks we'll be focusing on a different part of the exam each week. So next week is speaking, and then listening, and then writing for the general paper, then reading, and then writing for the academic paper. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of interesting things for you to see as the weeks go by. I mentioned asking questions, and we've got a really good way that you can ask questions directly to the educators on the course, and that's through our live events. In week 1 we had one live event, and that was a Facebook clinic. Lots of you joined us on Facebook, and we had hundreds of questions about IELTS, about language learning, and it was really interesting. The idea is you come along and you put a question on Facebook, and then someone will answer your question, and then you can reply to our answer. So you can have small discussions with us and other participants. It's a great way of asking questions and learning about English and IELTS. In week 2 we've got another Facebook clinic on Tuesday, and then later in the week the educators will be getting together to answer some of your questions in a video discussion. So there'll be a place in week 2 where you can leave questions, and then we'll look at them and we'll answer as many as we possibly can. And at the end of the week we'll put the video up on the site and you can watch us discuss things. So I was particularly interested in our first week to see how people feel about doing exams. I think most people feel quite nervous before the exam. So what can we do about that? How can we stop these nervous feelings? Well, the most popular post we had in this forum was from Sajitha. And Sajitha said, "When I'm well prepared and confident about the content, then I feel happy and composed through the exam time. If I'm not prepared, then I'm nervous and I make silly mistakes on the paper." And I think that's really true. Being well prepared is the best way of not being nervous and also getting the best grade. Natalia said something very interesting there. It doesn't matter how well prepared you are in the exam, you will feel fear and excitement. But don't worry, it's normal because we are human beings and we are not robots. It's important to be ready for any outcome of the exam, because failure is not a bad thing. People often think that failing has a negative connotation, but I see failing as a tool for success. The more you fail, the more you know. You should remember this every time. I think that's a lovely thing to say. It's such a positive way of viewing an exam. It reminds me also of something that we had in the last course from Ahmad Ali. Ahmad Ali said, "Don't get scared of them. They're just exams, not monsters." And that's true. I think we have to really think about what the exam actually is. Lastly, I wanted to mention something that Freddie said on the course. IELTS is an interesting exam because you can't pass it and you can't fail it. Everyone does the same exam and you just get a band score which tells you how good your English is. So if I do IELTS, then I'm going to get a 9, I think, which is the highest score. But somebody who hasn't got much English will get a 1. And everyone just gets a band score between 1 and 9. So it's not a pass or a fail, and you won't get a letter saying you've passed and you won't get a letter saying you failed. The way it works is everybody needs IELTS for different things. Some people will go to university and they'll need a 7, for example. So for them, 7 is the pass mark. And they'll do the exam. If they get the 7, then they can go to university. If someone wants to go and live in another country, possibly they'll need to get a 5. And for them, 5 is the pass mark. So you can't pass IELTS and you can't fail IELTS, you just get a band score. So, thank you very, very much for your participation, and I'll see you on the rest of the course.